Hello students, I'm back with a new poem. The poem, The Geography Lesson by Zulfikar Ghosh. As the name of the poem is self-explanatory, geography means something related to the earth, something related to the different parameters of the earth. Before starting the poem, let us know a little about the poet. The poet Zulfikar Ghosh was born in Sialkot, India, but now it is in Pakistan. After division, Sialkot, it is divided as Pakistani territory, Pakistani state or city. Zulfikar Ghosh grew up as a Muslim. His father, Khwaja Muhammad Ghosh, was a businessman. In 1942, during the Second World War, the family moved to Bombay, which is Mumbai now. After the partition of British India into Pakistan and India, Ghosh and his family emigrated to England. He graduated from Keele University in 1959, going on to teach at Ealing Mid School in London. This was a short information about the poet. Let us start with the first stanza of the poem. The screen is divided into three parts. First, the stanza of the poem. Second, the theme of the stanza, and third, the detailed explanation of the stanza. A few hundred feet from the ground, when the jet sprang into the sky, it was clear why the city had developed the way it had. Seeing it scaled 6 inches to the mile, there seemed an inevitability about what on ground had looked haphazard, unplanned and without style. When the jet sprang into the sky. What is the central theme of this stanza? In the first stanza of this poem, the poet describes his city where he is living. He tells us how it appears from the window of an aeroplane. It is clear that the city developed just as it was necessary for the people. So, what looked haphazard on the ground looked inevitable from the sky. The poem is about the way Earth looks from different altitudes, different heights when the plane takes off and it attains the height. It is divided into three parts. When the jet takes off, when it starts to fly, takes off means when the plane starts to fly and starts to climb up in the sky. You can have full height view of the city. When the plane is perpendicular from the earth to the sky, then from that height, the view of the city, what kind of view you can see? You can have full height view of the city, where a very clear view how a city looks from a height. The city grew as per necessity and did not grow as per proper planning. The development, the design of the city is not as per proper planning. It is as per the requirement of the human beings. For example, in a certain area, if there is forest, if the human beings are having lack of land, if they are having less land to survive, if they want to set up some industry, if they want to establish some industry, if they want to build complexes, buildings to live in, then what they do, they used to cut off the trees and make the forest as a plain ground, and there they establish the industries and there they build the buildings for as residential area. In this way, the poet is saying the city grew as per the necessity of the human being. It does not grow as per proper planning. It does not have any particular style. It does not have any particular blueprint. It does not have any particular format. It just grows and it can be reshaped as per the requirement of the human being. It even looked 6 inches from a certain height, revealing its true structure. Second stanza says that when the jet reached 10,000 feet, it was clear why the country had cities where the rivers ran and why the valleys were populated. The logic of geography is very clear that land and water attracts man. What clearly delineated where the jet reached 10,000 feet. In the second stanza, the plane rises to a height of 10,000 feet. The poet can see the logic of geography. He can see why the cities in the country have grown along the rivers. The valleys are populated for the same reason. It is land and water together that attracts the people. When the jet climbs higher up to about 10,000 feet, he could understand the fact that cities grew near the water resources. Water fulfills the necessity of human beings like agriculture, transport, business and other which are necessary for the survival of human being. Therefore, water and land, these are the two geographical factors which attracts the man to a great extent for their residence. He found that valleys were populated which met the necessities of the people. Why the valleys are populated? Because in the valleys, water and land both are readily available, and these two are the basic necessities of the human being which can meet all other necessities. Water and land. These two are the basic geographical factor, basic resources required by the human beings on the basis of which they can attain and they can get all the necessities. All the other required necessities they can achieve from this too. The third stanza says, when the jet rose 6 miles high, it was clear the earth was round and that it had more sea than land. But it was difficult to understand that the men on the earth found causes to hate each other, to build walls across cities and to kill. From that height, it was not clear why. When the plane rises still higher, that is 6 miles up, the earth looks round. From that height, it is very clear that the earth has more sea than the land. However, one question remains unanswered for the poet, and it is very difficult to understand why people hate and kill one another. Here, the poet is saying, when the plane rises little more higher, that is 6 miles up, the earth looks round. It is very clear for the poet that the shape of the earth is round, and it is also very clear that the earth has more water than the land. It has more sea than the land, but one question remains unanswerable for the poet. And what was that? The question that why people hate and kill one another. Why the hearts of the people are filled with hatred for their own fellow beings, for the same human beings which are living with them on the same earth. So, the mystery of the poem, what is the actual message conveyed by the poem is, it is easy to understand the logic of geography from a height. If we are sitting in a plane, in an aircraft, and it is at a height, at a great altitude, like 10 feet, 10,000 feet and 6 miles high, the geographical structure of the land is very clear. But for the poet, it is very difficult to understand why humans hate one another, why they kill one another. This remains a mystery for the poet. Here we end with the poem. So before moving further with the meanings, I just want to again recollect the message conveyed by the poem. The message conveyed by the poem is, from a height, from a higher altitude, we can understand the geographical structure of the land, of the earth. But as a poet, for the poet, it is very difficult for him to understand that why people living on the same land, sharing the same resources, fight each other, why they hate each other, and why they kill each other. Meanings: 10,000 feet. When we look at the earth from 10,000 feet, we see only rivers and large territories. Valleys, river valleys, the areas near the river where people used to live. Populated, overpopulated, delineated, very well explained. Here we end with the lesson. So stay home, stay safe, and go through the poem. Thank you and have a nice day.